I am Noriko Bowlful, and this is Uncut News. Before we begin, do you have something you want to leak without revealing your identity? Send us a tip on WhatsApp on telephone number 659-6151. Now for tonight's news. What's as big across as it is long, speaks Spanish, and is currently angry at the legal system. No, it's not that Cuban stripper with the broad BT who moved in next door. It's Venezuela, of course. And they are mad. How mad? Big mad. Why? Well, because the ICJ ruled in our favor, declaring that it, in fact, does have the jurisdiction to hear our case and will, in fact, resolve the century-plus dispute. Venezuela insists that the 1966 Geneva Agreement is the only legal and acceptable avenue to settle the dispute, arguing that the World Court was biased against them. The Venezuelan Foreign Ministry also accused the ICJ of violating its own rules by making the ruling. So now they are calling on us to return to the negotiation table, while simultaneously calling on its citizens to unite in the defense of territory. But to quote one wise man, it's best to avoid negotiations between the sword and the neck. Speaking of unreasonable and heavy-handed responses that may be followed up with violence, the GP has said that it has received a set of complaints from motorists about the masqueraders about town. The motorists complained that the young men are slowing up traffic, especially on Mandela Avenue, a road that is busy enough given the ongoing construction. Many are concerned that the men could cause accidents in their quest to get $1. The police informed the media that they would address it starting today, but I think things are probably going to be worse for everyone involved, as the police are likely to approach this with about as much sense, grace, and ease as a brain surgeon using a chainsaw. Sloanfield is currently on 141 days administrative leave pending the outcome of his case. Well, I wish I could get that many days off. Anyway, Deputy Chief Elections Officer Roxanne Myers is holding the fort for Sloanfield. The PPP Sponsorship Commission, the Private Sector Commission, and other groups have called for the removal of those who are before the courts for fraud. Even though Myers is also before the courts on similar charges, it was noted that she cannot be sent on leave at the moment due to the fact that there is no one else at the Secretariat to fill the space. Which, come to think of it, is probably the same reason why they can't lock up all the corrupt cops. There'll be none left. Aha! Nevertheless, GCOM has been asked not to hold another election until those guilty of fraud are catapulted out of the organization like an imposter in Among Us. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale is this 2015 Suzuki SX4 S-Cross. It comes with all-grip four-wheel drive, steering controls, TV, navigation stereo, crystal light, magrams, fog lamps, and much, much more. Pay cash for $5.1 million, or pay down as low as $1,020,000 with around $98,000 monthly, and it's yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit our showrooms at Lot 171 Peter Rowe Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them Noriko sent you for this sweet deal. On Saturday evening, 22-year-old construction worker Akram Huck was killed after he collided with a cow on the Crabwood Creek Public Road in Quarantine. Huck was riding his motorcycle when he crashed into a spotted brown cow in the middle of the road. Its owner has not been identified. He was taken to the Skelton Public Hospital, but he died as he was being transferred to the New Amsterdam Public Hospital. Killer cow collisions in Quarantine seems to be a monthly occasion at this point. It's a shame. On Sunday morning, a fire suspected to be electrical in nature gutted a home located in Ecclesy, Spank, Demerara. 31-year-old Samuel Ward, his wife Esther Joseph, and their 2 children were left homeless after the blaze ripped through their home yesterday morning. Ward lamented that the fire service took approximately 30 minutes to arrive at the scene. By then, the fire had already engulfed the entire building. Nearby houses were not affected by the blaze. Fortunately, no one was injured by the inferno. Now, let's take a look at news from Region 11. If you've got any family in Elmhurst, Queens, you might want to check up on them. An unidentified male Guyanese national was among the 3 persons who burned to death in a house fire early Saturday morning. According to reporters, the house was located at 9031 48th Avenue in Elmhurst. The 2 others who died tried to flee, but the door to the fire escape was locked shut. It was also reported that 1 person was injured when they jumped from the 3rd floor to escape. The fire left 4 others injured, including a firefighter who fell through a burning floor. The home was cited by the city multiple times for being over occupancy, as expected. Fire marshals are investigating the cause of the blaze. Check out Cellular Plus and get 50% off this TL3 Pro with a 5.5-inch screen, 32GB storage, and a 5-megapixel camera. Take advantage of this special Christmas offer and get a 30-day Prime Bundle plan with your purchase. Get it now at Cellular Plus for just $12,000. Continuing with misfortune in the diaspora, early Saturday morning, a 33-year-old Guyanese national in Trinidad was hospitalized after an unknown man beat him with an iron pipe and robbed him in front of his girlfriend in Chaguanas. The victim told police that he was with his girlfriend in front of their apartment when they were approached by a strange man who beat the stuffing out of him when he attempted to resist the attack. The man then robbed him of $3,000 Trinidad and then fled the scene. It's now time for today's Rona Report. Today, the nation recorded 46 new cases. The total number of deaths now stands at 159. There are now 7 persons in the ICU and 602 persons in home isolation. The total number of known cases in the country is now 6,171. So, please, people, wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your nose and mouth and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds. And remember to give 6 feet of space between you and others. Now, let's take a look at news in the region. As the police in Jamaica continue to urge citizens to report to legal parties in an effort to prevent the spread of the Rona, at least 22 persons, including an elderly man, were detained by police after they broke up an illegal party in St. Andrew. Of the persons arrested, the police said the operation also resulted in the detainment of 70-year-old Kenneth Campbell of Kingston for breaching the Noise Abatement Act. I wonder why he was singled out above the others, but oh well. 2 pieces of sound equipment, as well as 57 bottles of assorted alcohol were seized. We are now in the height of robbery season. If I were you, I would consider getting security for the home of business. I personally recommend Sheriff Security Service. I find that they are the most professional, with well-trained armed or unarmed guards. Get some security this Christmas, people. All you potheads better rejoice, as the United Nations Commission has voted to remove cannabis from its classification as a dangerous drug. 53 member states voted in total on a motion that removed cannabis from Schedule 4 of the 1961 Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs, where it was listed alongside deadly, addictive opioids, including heroin. The historic vote saw 27 in favor, 25 against, and 1 abstain. While cannabis remains largely an illegal substance, the vote is said to open the door for more research into the medicinal and therapeutic aspects of the plant. Or, so people can just go and get high, I guess. But hey, to each their own. And now for our weird news story of the day. It's another crazy lottery story, and you know how I love those. An Australian woman who won a $10,000 lottery jackpot said she only bought the ticket so she could meet the minimum purchase total to use her debit card. The woman told officials she was at the Cotton News Gifts and Stationery store when she ended up buying the ticket. She ended up buying the $1 Sheep Thrills, which earned her a $10,000 jackpot. The woman said the win was actually well-timed. Obviously, it's Christmas, so she'll definitely buy some gifts for her family and then put the rest towards a home she's been saving up for. She said it's brought her 1 year closer to her ultimate goal of home ownership. So, good job. Moving on to our Uncut News Viewers Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. So, you give your responses in the comments, and we will read the best ones in the following episode. Friday's question was, should the Rona vaccine be made mandatory? Carl Somewhat said, less worries, don't make taking the vaccine mandatory. As for me, I'm trying my best to stay clean, and I will observe how the vaccine sinks into society. Aha! Aha, indeed. Jay Jairam said, the vaccine should be mandatory, just like the vaccine of the old days. Remember the vaccines for mumps, rubella, and measles? Good point, and I guess people were probably against that one too, but hey, look how things turned out. And Dhanraj Mohan said, some people have allergies to vaccines and it could be fatal. It is important to let people choose for themselves. It is your legal right to choose what you want. True, very true. And finally, Carl Wayne Archer said it should be implemented because a lot of Guyanese could be infected and not know. And from what I'm told, it may even prevent a secondary infection. But again, who knows? But before we get to tonight's question, brighten up the holiday season and decorate your homes with new stock of vinyle, carpet, rubber towels, leatherettes, glassware, doilies, table plastic, rugs, and roll runner easy-to-clean carpets. Available in many colors, patterns, and designs to choose from. Beat the rush and enjoy the glorious days of shopping at Ravina's and Anand's. Ravina's and Anand's have unbeatable prices. For fast and comfortable shopping, visit them at Ravina's at 17A Water Street or Anand's at 108 Regent Street, or call them on telephone number 225 6595. Now for tonight's question. The police are planning to crack down on masquerading in the city streets. But seeing as this is a part of our culture, how can we adapt this in a way that everyone affected will be happy with the result? Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in Tuesday's episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Ballford saying good night, folks. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.